What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Burly Fishing Podcast. I'm Jeff Burlingame. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host Paul Glass, and we got some upgraded visuals, I think. Hopefully, like there's no audio lag this time. But we've upgraded our cameras. We got upgraded lighting. We're trying some new things, but we are live. And today we're talking about crankbaits, body baits, hard baits, however the heck you want to think about them. So we're gonna dig in. We're gonna talk about that. If you guys are hanging out with us today, feel free to kick back, crack a dad pop, or regular pop if you're not of drinking age, or a mom pop if you're not a dad. And just hang out with us. We're gonna talk for a while. So if you guys like the podcast, be sure to subscribe. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, anywhere you find your podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I don't know if you want to do that. There's some funny stuff. We do some fun stuff around TikTok. But yeah, without further ado, Paul, let's get rolling, man.
Episode question of the week. What is the worst sound to hear while you are fishing?
When
There are a lot of
just because
candidates. I want to be clear.
there's so
candidates.
many. All right, so hands down, my least favorite probably is that little like pink of the line when you cast out and your lure keeps going, your line doesn't keep going,
Yeah,
and your lure just goes.
You've
It's
okay.
pretty
It's
pretty
is it
awful
more is
sound.
it a pink or is it just like
Or when
it's like a it's a loud
is
like
is
snap.
it it's like a funk, like a pink,
I guess it
or is
depends on
it
how big the lure is. But yes.
it's just a snapping sound.
I see where you're coming from. My initial
Yeah.
my initial my initial answer was going to be, if you're a kayaker, you probably know about this. It was going to be the sound of the wind whistling through the guides
Through
of
the
your
rods.
vertical rod. The worst.
So much
That
bad.
just means you're going to have less fun than you could have had it not been for that
Yeah.
sound. That was my initial answer, and then I was having a memory from when I lost three chatterbaits in about 10 minutes a couple weeks ago, and the sound
To the
that
pike.
the sound that I had on one of them, my line just was tauter than taut braid, and all I heard was bang, barrel, and that
See,
was
there's
that
so
thing.
many right there. We've done like 5 variations of a line snap. So
There
if
are.
anybody has
You can do
any
a whole
better
episode on
variation,
that.
if anybody can just type out what the snapping of a line sounds like, that'd be great. But in the
Anyone
comments here,
or-
we got a few in the comments. Nick says thunder for sure, and then, which, I mean, if it's far away and it looks cool and it's passing by and it's not going to hit us, I'll enjoy it. If it's coming at me, like, oh, that sucks. And then Christopher says stepping on a rod, the
Oh, see,
snapping of a
that
fishing rod.
rod snapping was gonna be one of them, but then in my brain I was like, if I have like a huge fish on,
You've done
and
that. I've done
yeah,
that.
yeah, if I have a huge fish on that
Awful.
snaps, like the story
Oh
is not
yeah.
over. I'm still going. So that's actually a good point. I don't really have that problem of stepping on the rod. I have
Yeah.
taken one of Jeff's rods and slammed it in a car door and knew instantly, right into the core of my soul, that something bad happened. So not ideal.
Oh, Morgan Freeman came on, and that's when Paul knew he screwed up.
That's exactly right.
It was that kind of moment.
That's right up there.
Yeah, snapping a rod. If you do land the fish, bonus points. Because I've had that happen. I've had a rod fold on me. Like fish went under the kayak quickly, and rods don't do that. So snappy. But I hand lined him in and landed
I was
him,
there.
and I was like, that's fine. Plus, I just took it back to Cabela's in 3 pieces and slapped it on the table, and I was like, I'll have my money, please, and they gave it back. So that was fine. I had it for a while. Yeah. And so our boy, our man behind the screen says losing a rod in the water. Yeah, you're right. The sound that my most recent rod lost in the water made though was because it was behind me standing up and it caught a tree. Was you just hear the tree branch bend and then you hear like the little of like the H crate just pulling back, and then it leaving the rod sleeve. And then sploosh, and then you turn around. So it's a multiple sounds that occur when that type of event happens,
It's a bad combo.
which is terrible.
All right, I'm sticking to mine. I'm not changing it. Good alternative options. Not changing mine. It's heartbreaking. One, when you got like $7 on the end of the line, and on top of that, it's a
You
monster
had more
fish.
than seven. You had
Yeah,
more than $7.
yeah, yeah. Just F, and especially when it's a big fish too. That just sucks.
Yeah.
Personal
When you know
preference,
it's
though. All
yeah,
right.
for sure.
Do we want to do the weekly check-in?
I think that's probably a good idea. You go first.
I have been doing a lot of tackle organization and like accruing of stuff to try for the upcoming weeks. But surprisingly enough, even though we're in Michigan and it's becoming fall, fishing has been on the poo-poo, have not been going out. I've been doing a lot of duck hunting. Not a lot of duck shooting. Not a lot of duck shooting.
Hunting.
Lots of
It's
duck
like
hunting.
fishing, not catching. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, but it's been actually really good, and I'm going out again on Sunday morning.
That's sweet.
And apparently nobody cares about this stuff.
Well, as you're wearing your Drake performance fishing shirt, that would be a waterfowl there. So this week I've been doing a lot of filming. I've probably shot, I can't even tell you how many unboxings this week. Like today I unboxed MTB, Monster Bass, a couple other like MTB off the shelf things, a whole bunch of chatterbaits because Paul lost all of his, so I bought him a bunch, as well as myself while it was there. And we had Busby, I had line cutters, I had all sorts of stuff. And then like last week, I went on a camping trip and I fished in the rain for 4 days straight, just cold, wet, rainy weather, multiple layers, and just getting soaked to the bone kind of deal. But the fish were biting, and it was amazing. And I was on like my favorite campground, my favorite body of water. I'm taking Paul there in 2 weeks. It's gonna be sweet. We're gonna kill it. But had a good time, caught a lot of fish. The rest of the family who was with me was just stuck in my in-laws RV, and they're just not
Having
stoked
lots
about
of
it.
fun.
So we were supposed to be there Monday to Sunday. We left Thursday. So and they dragged me off the lake. Like I was out there fishing. I was, I don't know, 4 to 14 fish up at that point, just like crushing it. And I'm like happy. I'm singing them out there. I'm like recording. I'm talking to the camera. And then my wife comes down to the ramp because it's not a big lake. So she like finds me at the ramp and she's like, I want to go home. And I was like, why?
This place is fantastic.
It's pouring rain. It's like 14-mile-an-hour winds. It's 50 degrees out. I'm like, I don't understand. Why are we leaving? She was so mad. But I left for them, and my boat has been on my truck since, so I haven't fished since then. So it was last Thursday. So I'm jonesing for it, man. And I got a big old business thing this weekend, so I'm not gonna fish this weekend either. I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'm just gonna die. Paul, help.
I was waiting for those ducks. And for anybody that cares, deer season, bow season starts October 1st in Michigan. Which if you're an adult, you're not a child, or you're not a veteran, that's the first time you can really start deer hunting. So I am going to be testing out a new type of deer stand this year. It's called saddle, which was actually invented in Michigan.
Sweet.
It's gonna probably be delivered to my home at some point during this podcast, and the dog
and your dog is gonna freak out.
Is gonna lose her mind. But yeah,
there's a dog there, everybody.
It doesn't look like it, but she's there, and her demon eyes half open. Yeah, I'm actually pretty jacked about that. So if anybody that's listening cares anything about hunting, let me know if you've tried out the saddle. I got the tethered mantis. Dude, I'm jacked up. I'm gonna do some videos on just that, and I'm gonna post them and let no one care about them, but I care. So yeah, that's
good.
Happening. All right.
And also, guys, we're trying to figure out the scheduling of these live videos right now, just so you know. So bear with us. We can schedule them ahead of time, but when we go live, it just creates like a new video, unfortunately. So if any of your fishing friends are stuck over on the other not happening live stream, maybe message them to jump over to this stream. Or just message your fishing friends right now so they can come watch with you. That's our bad. We're gonna figure that out. Technical difficulties come along with this. I think this is our third one, third live. killing it. You know, third time's not necessarily a charm. Maybe fifth, sixth, seventh. I don't know. 37th time might be the charm. Just bear with us. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this thing out. But
All right.
let's get to the show, bro.
Show me starting in 3, 2, 1 right now. Define. I'm calling this the crankbait episode because crankbaits are like one of my favorite baits. This is all encompassing: body baits, hard baits, anything with a bill for the most part, cast and retrieve type stuff. I'm going to define this whole category as hard baits. Is that fair?
Yes.
That's what we're going to define them as.
Looking at your show notes, I could tell that's where you were going. So I
Yeah.
figured like hard baits, body baits, however you guys want to think about it. A lot of people picture like crankbaits just as the dives below 1 foot type category, which I think a lot of them will fit into there. But yeah, we're not basically not top water, right? So I don't think you had any top water in there, right?
Plastics. No top water.
No top, no wake baits.
No wake baits.
Kind of everything below there. So yeah, so we are talking like a foot deeper.
So I'm going to call all of those things crankbaits.
Fair.
So the question would be, Jeff, what for you makes a crankbait that you're constantly reaching for? What makes a good one?
What makes a good one? Looks good, good action, sounds good, catches fish.
Durability.
I mean, sure. So recently I never even like thought about that, to be honest, until I heard recently about a few brands that have experienced some maybe issues with durability. Not to name names, but you know, some out there. I've been hearing things. And you know, for me, it's always like testing for myself. We'll see if that happens to me. Maybe I don't know if it's like a real thing that happens a lot. No, Chad, we're not calling them out. Trying to start stuff behind the screen. You can't do that. But yeah, I mean, sure, durability for sure. And some brands I think like tout durability. What was the one we were testing for MB the other day? It was like Wow Factor.
Wow Factor.
Wow Factor is like unbreakable. Guess what, dude? I broke one. They break it.
And here's the thing about durability too. And we were just talking about this. Like, why does it suck to lose a bait? Because they cost like $15 sometimes. Z-Man chatterbait. Jackhammers are not cheap. Like, I don't want to lose that lure. Crankbaits, not cheap. They're in like the like $5 to $10 range.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, the better ones more.
Yeah, I don't want to lose.
No, exactly.
And I don't want it breaking. And the other thing too is durability. Color, yes, sure, it matters, but you're going to find something that you like probably in your price range. Is it going to last?
Yeah.
One of the main things about a crankbait is you can beat the crap out of it. And if it's just going to fade, chip, you know, get scratched up to the point where it's not doing what it's supposed to do, that's going to make me upset too. I think durability, fairly important. Being a value conscious individual.
Yo, real quick. Best Coast Bassin, did you just throw us $5? Thank you. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. He says, just started throwing balsa cranks. I'm a fan for sure. And super durable in my opinion. Balsa cranks, man. I like them.
They're gonna end
for
up
sure.
Maybe when we get to the end here on the top 5, they might end up.
Might they show up in your top 5? We'll see. Stay tuned. But yeah, Best Coast Bassin. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
The other thing I think that makes a good crankbait is like a unique action. So whether it is like a balsa where it's actually rising in the water column, or it's like a rip and wrap where you can jerk it and it's going to literally pause in the water column wherever you have it. If it's something that has a nice tight wobble, if it's a square bill, just something that creates like uniqueness, whether it's super aggressive or it's even really subtle, like that slow wobble. I want something that's unique. So that's another thing I'll say is action is incredibly important, obviously, because that's what it does. Those are some of the things that I'm looking for. Durability, something that's unique, and then something that's gonna, obviously catch fish, but that's what catches
fish. Catch fish, not fishermen necessarily.
Bruh, you've only done that to me twice.
Have I? What? Okay. All right. We don't need to talk about that on this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Still got a hole in the shoulder.
I don't know what he's talking about. Guys, don't listen to him. He's lying.
So we're moving
Straight line,
on.
this liar. He's a
All right,
liar.
let's
All
go
right, next thing.
let's go through what kinds are out there. So this is going to encompass the whole body bait spectrum. And the one that I think is
Mm,
probably the most recognizable is your shallow, medium, and deep diving crankbaits. So it's like your traditional. I put shallow in
mm,
like the 1 to 3 foot diving category. The middle I would put in like the like 4 to 8, somewhere in that range, probably 4 to 8.
mm-hmm.
And then anything that's, we'll call it like 8 to 10 plus, is going to be like your deep divers.
Yep.
Do you want to do
I think that's
lipless?
fair.
Do you want to do lipless?
Lipless. Yes. I mean, lipless baits got a lot of action. You don't have a lip because it's lipless.
This one actually is
Yeah. So
lip
I mean,
free.
these are lip free baits. So yeah, I love lipless baits. I throw them a lot. There's a few brands that may show up in my top 5 in here in in a little bit. But it's one of my go-to baits. It's a bait that, obviously you're not relying on the lip doing the diving for you. You're going to rely on the weight of the bait. It's going to do the sinking for you. So I usually will, it's one of those things, you bomb cast it out there, let it sink a little bit, try to run it, at a certain depth in the water column. But what I love to do with them is let them get into the weeds and rip them out, and usually get those bites off of them being ripped out of the weeds. But I love it for a fall bait. Spring and fall, I use them a lot. Fantastic bait for that. Shallow cover or through the weeds, some I do a lot, and they have a pretty good action. So it's like a tight wobble. Can have like a good knocking system. Usually they have like a good thump to them, good sound, and big old hooks. Kind of depending on the brand that you're getting. But we'll talk about a few brands here in a little bit.
I also say,
Yeah.
like, people, a lot of complaints that people have about crankbaits is not being able to get them down like way deep, 20
Mhm,
plus.
mhm.
Um, man, a lipless crank will get straight down there, and
Yeah. Just let
they're
it
usually,
go.
yeah, and they're usually weighted so that they're countdown. So it's like one
Mhm.
second, 1 foot, or 2 feet, and you can count
Yeah.
down right to get to that depth you want, and you can actually just jig them, rip them
Mhm.
up, let them fall, rip them up, let them fall, and those things. Just like about that tight wobble, they're usually more aggressive than a crankbait, even at full speed. And you do not have to run these things at full speed to get like a just such an
Yeah.
aggressive action on them. And they are, because of the ball bearings that are in there, those things freaking rattle like crazy.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
usually they're really loud. And speaking of jigging them, yeah, it's like a great technique for it. Just let them drop, lift them up. Because when you lift it, it's that same kind of action that you get out of like your Squarebills and your crankbaits as it's moving through the water. You lift it up, it's like moving up, doing that same thing, rattling all over the place. So yeah, another great way to get them.
next category, one of my, it might be my favorite, jerkbait.
Is it your favorite out
It
of all
might,
these things?
it might be. I don't know.
All right, it's
I
my
don't
least
know.
favorite out of all these
Medium,
categories.
medium, medium diver might be my
Yeah,
absolute favorite. I love a good jerkbait.
yeah.
Do you want to walk me through what a jerkbait is, bruh?
I just did lipless. You do jerk baits, dude.
Jerkbait is
You're,
like,
you're the jerk doing the baits.
I'm the jerk doing these baits. So the a jerkbait would be like, usually they're a little more on the long and slender side.
Mhm.
Um, and what they will do is they'll typically be floating, or they will be like stagnant where they're not going to sink. And what you're going to get is a really small lip. It's not going to dive real deep. It's only going to dive a couple of feet down. But what it's really meant, hence the name, what it's really meant for is, you're going to jerk the rod tip once this is in the water. It's going to dive down, and then it's just going to suspend and totally freeze wherever it was. And you're going to give it these short jerking motions, and what it's doing is it's sort of twitching in the water, and it's acting like a fish that is like on its last legs, that is
Mhm.
trying to escape something, but it's really on its last legs. It's gonna usually have some kind of rattle. Just, it might not be an intense one, but it'll have some kind of noise to it. And then typically there's usually more hooks. So if like a crankbait would normally have two, these a lot of times have three. And then the
Mhm.
last hook, the really good ones, like the Rapala balsa wood ones, they're going to have a lot of times some flash at the back, so some like feathers or some material tied into the back, just to give them that extra little twitch that's really gonna accentuate when you jerk those through the water. This is like springtime textbook bait, absolute textbook bait. The one thing I will say about these, though, a lot of those Rapalas, one of my favorite ones of all time, you actually can retrieve them nice and slow. They're going to stay down in the water column, and they're going to have this like really subtle wobble, and they're going to stay above the weed line for the most part. So if you find yourself you need to get like less than 3 feet, I have caught a ton of solid fish just running it like a crankbait. The nice thing about it is when you jerk it through those weeds, like Jeff was talking about, it doesn't sink all the way down and go deeper than what you wanted to, than what you needed to do. Conversely, though, they usually don't have like super heavy duty monster hooks like a vertical jigging lipless. They're usually smaller. So that's one where you want to let that fish take it and run with it before you go set the hook. And you do not need to do like a full on home run hook set. Just raise that rod tip up with a little bit of aggression. But I'm telling you, when all else fails in the crankbait world, I feel like more people need to start reaching for the jerkbait.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just telling Kyle in chat here was saying he's new to jerkbaits. I said like I'm a reluctant convert. I said it's my least favorite all these body baits just because I'm the least comfortable with them, really. But I know they hands down straight up catch fish, and especially in those tougher months, like or like clear water conditions, we've used them a lot. But yeah,
like right now,
like what would you say? Like right now, maybe when it's getting cold, we get this like fall transition, fall turnover. We get into a tougher bite pattern. Like things start changing up. Yeah, we'll start reaching for them, and you're gonna see them coming in these boxes that we get too. So like I think I got a jerk bait or a spy bait in every box this month, including a random one I got from Canada that you guys will see in a little bit too. So there's a Canada box, one from up north, no maple syrup in it. It's fine, but there is. Yeah, jerk baits are, it's time to use them as long as they're not giant pink sinking ones that you get in a July box from certain companies.
And they could be any of those things individually, not all of them combined.
Not all of them combined. Exactly. Oh man. So yeah, Kyle's asking if we ever fish in Rhode Island. Nope. Would love to fish all around the country at some point. We'll get there. Maybe someday. We're gonna travel. We're gonna do some stuff. Yeah, I would just say like any of these guys talking here, be Dooley, Kyle talking about jerkbaits. Yeah, spring, fall, tough months, clear water, throwing that. Yeah, and like me reluctantly, usually like Paul will be throwing it for 2 hours and he'll be catching fish and I'll throw everything else and I'll be like, fine. And then I'll pull out the jerkbait.
What you'll see is fish. Whenever those fish are keying in on bait fish and it's early or late in the season, that's when a jerkbait is just killer, because the paint schemes you'll see a lot of times, there's like kind of 4 main paint schemes. There's like something that's like a natural, like a shad or a perch. Then you're gonna see like your super aggressive like fire tiger, shiny, like all silver, all like electric blue with like all of them are gonna have natural color orange, or like some kind of like whitish pearl belly. And then a lot of times you'll see like an almost like bronze, like a dark red or like a bronze color. And those are all imitating a different kind of bait fish in a different phase. And that's really what they're doing. And that's why they're so effective in early season when fish are bulking up, either right before or right after they've done spawn, or when they're going into winter mode and they're trying to chunk up before they just burn calories for 9 months out of the year if it's Michigan. So when they just see one that's erratically moving around and looks like it's in trouble, it's just like silver platter, lid's not even on it, just like let them rip.
For sure. Yeah. So let's see. Sam in chat talking about, can you recommend a few baits? We're going to. We've got a number, more than a few baits that are coming up towards the end of the episode. So we're gonna get to that. So hang tight. Future videos from B. Dooley says travel and meet up with subscribers and go fishing. Yeah. I could see that. Happening. And then Gary, what's your favorite lake to fish in Michigan? Paul, you want to take that?
Okay, no, I'll tell you. My favorite ones are the ones that are made of water and have a bottom and also are wet. Those are my favorite ones.
Guys, I would tell you I would tell you, but Paul would literally jump through my camera and is trying to punch me right now.
Okay, no,
Sorry,
I have a
we don't name
I
drop.
work as somebody. I do a lot of hunting, and as somebody who is like, I do not fish or hunt on private land or water. I look hard
Mm,
for my spots. We waste a lot of time covering unproductive water. It is like
yeah,
part of what we do, and it
yeah.
yields a lot of times good spots, but it's a lot of
Hmm.
work. But
We get burned a lot of the time, guys. Like the videos you see where we catch fish, that's like 1 in 4. And we do work for these spots. And being kayak anglers, like we put in at really tough spots. So I can't, even if I could tell you, you'd have to guess how to get there. But I also can't tell you because we work hard for it. And Paul would probably literally kill me. So I'm not
I
gonna,
will say this though. I will
end of
say this.
channel, end of podcast.
It will certainly be 50% less good. I'll tell you this right now. There are some really cool ways to utilize not only technology but use your time effectively. Do some research ahead of time. It's something that I actually really want to do an episode about is like how to scout for your spots. So like when people ask me like
Yeah.
where do you like to fish? I'm like I fish like almost everywhere. Like I can name every lake between Jeff and I at this point.
Yep.
I've looked at like
And
every
past
single
us
one.
and north of us.
Yeah. And
We
it,
fish a lot. We have books on books on books as well for these things.
and it's
Yeah,
and it's
exactly. Like B Dooley says, Google Maps. Like, dude, that's what we do. We map them. We
Google
do
Earth.
depth charts. Like, yeah.
I use Google Earth as sort of like my step one for that,
Mhm.
like marking out my hunting spots, and then I go to Onyx to figure out what's public and what's private, and I have like a whole process for figuring all that stuff out. I feel
Yep.
like this is a pun not intended, but like teach a man how to fish type deal. I like to help people learn how to find their own spots because I'll be honest with you, I look back on the times when I've like been driving around in my truck and just looking for stream access. I've literally crisscrossed every mile of road up and down a river
Yeah.
until I found stream access that wasn't on a map. And like, yes, did it take me a lot of time? Absolutely. Do I know that river 10 times better than what I would have before? Absolutely. And
Yep.
there's this is me personally, but like I think there's value in that. So like short of like preaching at you and be like, do it all yourself, you little jerk. Like short of saying that, I do feel like it is really worth it. And I feel like it's a rewarding experience. And I also feel like, and
Yeah.
I did an article about this, like finding your own honey holes is worth 10 times someone just like saying, this is where all the fish are. Because one, when you
Right.
say that, there's a billion other people on the internet that can go listen or read that and are going to show up to that spot. I promise you they will. And you finding
Hmm.
your own where you haven't told anyone else except for maybe your uncle that now is now sworn to secrecy, or your best bud who you have to like to get him to not tell him about your spots, like that. There's so much more value in that, and then you're also learning how to make a repeatable process. So you can, if you get spot busted, just go find another one. No big deal. So that I'm off.
Yeah.
That's it. But I really want to do an episode on that.
Soapbox. Kick
It's
it. Kick
such
that
a
soapbox out.
it's a touchy thing, and everyone's different. But that's the only reason I don't give up my spots, even when they're like popular spots that everyone could go to.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, yeah, guys, check out Google Maps, Fishbrain, Angler. What else is that? I don't know. There's a billion ones out there.
I will
But yeah,
give you
just
how about I will our next episode, I will give you my process. We will do the next episode.
fair.
It will be on this topic on how to find your own water. How about that?
I like that. I think that'll be a fun episode because I feel like we talk a lot about those lures, baits, stuff that catches fish, but like if you can't find water where fish are, then you can't catch fish. So we're, we're gonna give you some keys to success. I like it. All right. So next bait on the list, we got my favorite bait. This is my favorite hard bait right here, Squarebill. And it is my favorite bait because it is the highest producing bait that I use. Because it hits like I would say like the area in the water column that I fish absolutely the most, which is generally between like 2 and 6 feet, right? So this is a bait that I can throw anywhere. It doesn't get hung up hardly ever. I fish it in the river all the time. It's hands down my favorite river fishing bait because it just catches gosh dang fish. And it's really, it's like a fun power fishing bait. It's one where I'm just like hit a spot, fan cast everywhere. I'm just like boom, 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 boom. So a lot of times if I know the fish are generally in that range, somewhere between maybe 1 and 12 feet, like I'm gonna throw a square bill a lot of the time because they're erratic. They do cause a lot of vibration, a lot of sound just from their movement. And then a lot of times, of course, you got the rattle to them. So they're going to have actual sound and vibrations going out. They draw fish in, hands down. And I just love in the river, like one of my favorite things is just in the river, see a log jam, see just a bunch of stuff, junk, boulders, whatever. I just love casting a square bill out and just running it through and just feeling it just knock off of everything. One of my favorite things of all time. So that bait for me, my favorite hard bait, hands down. I have too many of them, and they are like my Busby is always packed full of them. I usually have like my 5 like go-to square bills. Just to give you an idea, there's like 5 go-tos, and there's like 10 backups. So
The
I'm
weird
like,
thing is
that didn't work. That didn't
I
work.
don't think my favorite's in your top 5 favorite.
Your favorite square bill
Yeah,
is not in my top 5.
I don't think so.
Oh, we'll find out. We'll get to that part. We'll
I
get
don't
there.
think it is. So my this actually brings up a really good point though about crankbaits that I was going to touch on later, but it's like it's the perfect place to bring it up. You know, power fishing a crankbait is not necessarily as easy as just casting or retrieving. It certainly can be,
Yeah.
but I mean, and that's how I would say the majority of people fish them. But one of the things that I consider crankbaits to be sort of in my wheelhouse. It's like one of the things that
Hmm.
Jeff's Ned rig crankbaits. I feel like I fish them more effectively than most baits.
That's your
Like
Ned rig.
this is it's pretty. It's got to be up there. I just feel
Can we
like
do a Ned rig episode?
we absolutely
When's
can.
that?
There's no reason not to. Can't be the next one now. I just I
No,
love
we
using
gotta find your spot as the next one.
we already signed up.
We got it.
Wrote it in blood. So the thing about crankbaits, a lot of people cast them out, retrieve them. Yes, it works. I
Mhm.
do not think that that's the best way to do it. What makes a crankbait so unique is how erratic it really is. And you can actually get more of that erratic nature if you start jerking the rod tip, if you start
Mhm.
varying your retrieve, if you rip it, if you actually intentionally get it stuck in some weeds, jerk it out, and then change your retrieve speed. Like when you are and it's difficult to do because you are trying to cover water. You're typically using them in situations where you got a ton of open water and you don't know where the fish are, and so you're using it like search bait. And that, yes, it's great
Yeah.
at that, but if you get into this like very bored zone of like a cast or retrieve, a cast or retrieve, a cast or retrieve, a cast or retrieve, and like nothing happens, and you don't. The other thing you don't do
Right.
when you get in that zone is you don't fish the same spot like 4 times. And I'm telling you, especially in dirty stained water, if you're not hitting the same spot that you think there might be fish at, like 4 or 5 times, you're not doing it justice. And you're definitely going to miss fish and you are going to miss monsters. And so,
Yeah.
like, the
It's
thing
like
that I
knocking on their door.
you have to
Like
bug
they
the
don't
shit
answer the
out of
first
them.
time. Yeah. Hey, hey, how about this time? Hey, hey, and then bite. Every
What?
time. Clockwork.
It really does matter. And
Yep.
cast into a spot once, do your boring retrieve. The next time you do it, if you
Mhm.
think it's a fishy spot, jerk it through real fast. The next time, do it again. Pull it through real slow. The next time, if you've got like
Mhm.
a suspending bait or a jerk bait or something like that, stop it. Just pause it right in the hole
Yeah.
and just make yourself be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I swear it's 4.5. You'll get smacked. It just
Or
that
even floating. Floating too, because when you pause
absolutely
it and
run
you
them
get
up.
that little dead float, they can hit that too.
Twitch, twitch, twitch. It's just you
Yep.
try everything
Yeah.
in every spot, and I promise you,
Yeah.
you will find that you like crankbaits a lot more because you're going to catch more fish.
Yeah. I
It's just
mean,
reality, and
I
this goes for every single one of these, every single one, top to bottom.
oh yeah. Because like, dude, I'll fish some crankbaits, like actual cranks, not square bills, like crankbaits in the river too. And if you're careful with them, and Paul say this too, he's actually done these in videos and he converted me to this. But if you're careful with it, you don't get stuck. And I have gotten stuck. But I mean, if it's a floating crankbait, it might come back up. I've been lucky before. But at the same time, it's like I love the square bill so much because it's how I fish, like subtly aggressive. I will just the Ned rig, for example, like I love an EWG Ned because I can just cast it up into the dirt and that's where the fish are, man. Like I love, weedless setups. I love chatterbaits because I can run it through the weeds, like anywhere I can get through cover. Like that's how I fish. I don't want to do, I mean, I know this is a way to fish. I'm not saying it's wrong or bad or, anything negative. I'm
Ineffective.
not saying that. It's just not right for me. Like
Mhm.
open water, super deep, my least favorite thing of all time forever. Like I just can't do it. Paul's been out with me where we park on a hump at like 35 feet. And he's like, all right, bro, let's drop shot. And I'm like, let's not
All
do
right,
that.
bro, let's leave.
Let's go home. I'm so bored. And he's just catching fish and making fun of me. But like at the end of the day, it's just not my style. I want to work, right? I want to be constantly casting, moving, running through the dirt, trying to just drag those fish out of those tight spots. Like that's what I enjoy. That's what like gets me excited about fishing.
It's
So,
also though we talked about this with a couple of different guests in the past. Most notably, Christine Fisher. Fishing what you know and what you enjoy is definitely going to produce better results. So trying to fish someone else's way or a way that someone else has proven to be effective, not always. It's just not going to yield the results that you want. I promise
mhm.
you. Stick to what you know. Or stick to stick to what you know, but it's like stick to what you like. Stick to your style. I would say.
Well, find out what you like. See, because
Sure.
here's the thing that I really like about these subscription boxes, right? So, like, Paul and we're both on the Monster Bass team, but I get like MTB, I get 6 cents, I got this Canada box this month. But like, what brings me joy about these boxes is that I get to experience new baits. I got glide baits this month in 6 cents and a hybrid swim crank. I've never fished those things before. Are you kidding me? Like I get weird baits like what was the Weston we were talking about that came in the MTB this month? The hydro twist, the hypno twist. I don't know. One of these crazy, it's a topwater prop bait, right? I get weird baits and I get to try them out. Now, not always weird. I will differentiate between like novelty and like actual good legendary styles of fishing.
Stuff.
You do get the good stuff. Like MTB had a dual Realis spin bait this
Yep.
month. Like I've never fished a spy bait before. Now I'm gonna learn. So that's cool, but it exposes you to like these new techniques, these new styles, and then you find what you like. Because I can tell you, whether it's Monster Bass, MTB, 6 cents, Warrior Tackle Supply, this Canada box, whatever, there's always going to be 10 to 50% of the baits that I hate. Hate. Do not like fishing. Will not fish again.
That
They
are
go up
not
there.
that are not
This is the
Squarebills or net
graveyard.
rigs.
They're not net. Yeah, they're not Ned rigs. They're not Squarebills. They live up here, all up there. Dead baits and baits that I never want to fish again. They go up there. All those pink sinking jerk baits that came in Warrior Tech Supply. They live up there now. Anything from Vexan ever lives up there. Lots of Weston stuff, but
Bro,
but they do
don't
make
you
some
need
good
to stop
stuff too.
talking trash about Weston because I'm about to get up in here and I'm about to preach in a little
So
bit. It's already
so
in my
Paul,
honorable mention. It's on my screen.
you just added that. So Paul just discovered Weston's website and was like, "Oh my gosh!" And he found all these cool things. I'm talking trash about some of that. If you look at the website, it's gonna be like 50
I'm
50.
with I'm with you.
50% is
I'm with
novelty
you.
garbage.
This one that we're
50% is
talking about
awesome.
is so good. I do not
Mhm.
care about the other pages that are on this website. It don't matter. All right.
Fair.
Moving on from Squarebills. The last one I actually have on here, and if there's something else that we didn't cover, somebody let me know. But the last one I have on here, and this sort of like I put this in a different category because I fished them for a really long time, and I do not fish these like I fish any other body bait whatsoever. And that's micro body baits or micro hard baits. Anything that's like an inch or less. They do not run like any other hard bait. You can't tie knot. You can't tie the same knots that you would tie for any other hard bait. You cannot use any kind of remotely heavy rig for these. They do not run
Mhm.
true. They need to be tuned. They they do catch fish. They catch fish like crazy. They catch smallmouth like you would not believe, and they catch trout like crazy. That being said, micro, I'll call them crankbaits, but micro body baits of any kind,
Mhm.
they are like sort of on a planet of their own, and they are kind of expensive. They
Yeah.
look like they should not work, but man, I'm telling you, sometimes there is nothing else that works like them, especially in the river. Like in the river, they can just they're essentially batting cleanup for me. I have a small river box. When everything else fails, when I want to go catch giant crappie, when it's shallow water and I can't get anything else that's going to just be like erratic enough.
Yep.
Some of those like micro sized, again, like less than an inch, the size of your pinky nail sometimes, those hard baits, they will get the job done. And I do, like I said, the only reason I put them in their own category, you can't fish them like anything else. You try and rip those through the water and you've already failed.
Yeah, 100%. I love those for like wading the shallow spots in the river that we go sometimes, like a Rebel craw crank. Those do pretty good.
Even the whole Rebel's one of my favorite brands of all time. But yeah, they, you know, the Rapala makes a lot of these, like, I mean, we're talking like between the middle joint of your knuckle, like that size.
Oh yeah,
like your pinky, like that size of a lure. They just make some absolute killers. Single hook, like not a treble, like single upturned hook in the back, and like that's the only thing on it.
Yeah.
I've just hammered trout on those, hammered them, and they would not have taken anything else.
No, for sure.
My dog
Love
really
it. All right, so last up, what do we get?
The last up actually is like, I put this as like different types of.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
So there's, within each one of these, there's essentially some different categories. You could basically have any single, well, with the exception of maybe a Squarebill or the micro, you could have like 6 different kinds of any one of these. You could have them be where they're floating, you could have them be where they're sinking, you could have them be where they're suspended, you could have them rattling, you could have them where they're jointed either once or twice. You could also have almost any of these that are flat-sided versus like your typical like super rounded spherical style. Are there any other kinds in there?
I mean, there probably are. We're going to miss some things in here, guys. We're going to miss some brains. We're going to miss some types. This is not the all-encompassing everything ever included, episode, but this is, I'd say, a fair amount of it, right?
Like
and that's really the goal. So we just want to, sure. If you want to say that, sure. We could say that. Ballpark, 85 to 90%.
We got most of them there. But yeah,
I think so.
Your jerkbaits, your Squarebills, your shallow, medium, deep divers, all of them could have any different kind of one of these. And like that, like once you know that there's like that level of like uniqueness within each one of these baits, all of a sudden it's like, okay, my jerkbait that didn't have enough action, I can reach for the jointed version, or I can reach for the suspending version, or I can reach for the sinking version of that. The micro bait that you're getting short struck on constantly, they make them with long trailer hooks, they make them with flash tied into the back, they make them the ones that sink down. Like there's just tons of different varieties of these that can, you can target essentially every single thing in the book. The other thing that's not in here that probably should be on here that I didn't put in is plugs. It's a hard body bait. It weighs nothing, and it's typically 1 to 2 hooks, and it'll be like an arch shape, imagine a body bait where the face of the lure is the bill, and you tie right into the front. 90% of the time, this is going to be used for trolling. That's why there's no weight to them, because in trolling, you're going to add weight to the line in some way, and that's going to get just this hyper aggressive wobble. Super loud. Some have rattles, some don't. Again, there's like every single length, version, color under the sun. But plugs would be, then I don't have them on here because it's not really like your typical bass fare. Usually it's your walleye guys that have those. I keep them in my box. Guys on Lake St. Clair where we are, absolutely hammer smallmouth trolling with these all the time. So that they make the list because technically I think they would fall into this category and not another one that we would do later, but not something that you're going to be casting or retrieving typically.
Kyle asked, line for jerkbait. What's your preference, Paul?
So we were gonna get to this. Line for, okay. Most of the time when I'm fishing anything that has got either a subtle or a really aggressive action, I want straight braid. I want 15-pound-ish straight braid on a, this is critical, on a medium to medium heavy, somewhere in there. I don't want like your traditional medium heavy. I want like a buttery smooth, soft medium heavy. The reason being, I want that to I want there to be give in the rod so that I can feel all the action. And in order to feel all the action through the rod, I want the straight braid connection so that there's no stretch in the line, so that when I'm ripping it through weeds, when I'm going to get a strong hook set, um, and while that thing is rattling like crazy through the water, I can feel every single little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a really nice combination of power and like finesse. So your standard medium heavy, it's probably not going to cast that well, and it's probably not going to give you the sensitivity that you really, really want. You can make up for that with power on having straight braid. That being said, the difference would be jerkbait. So on a jerkbait, you can go straight braid, but I'm definitely going lighter line. I want like 8 pound braid, maybe like 6 to 10. I'll
Yeah.
call it 6 to 10. One, because of castability. Two, because the one thing that I don't like about braid, when you're ripping that often, you can tie a loop knot so that you get this nice little flick as you're ripping that jerkbait through, kind of like you're doing your walk the dog. But it just doesn't have the same action as like a stiffer mono. So I would say if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna go straight braid, 6 to 10. If you're gonna go mono, I'm probably going like 8 to 12. Reason being, I want it to be a little bit stiffer, but at the same time, it is sort of like a really subtle bait. And so that clear, um, not colored line is really going to help you. The other thing, too, is on casting. If you go lighter line and you go with the mono, you're just going to get a better cast. So you're going to get a little more
Yeah.
distance than you will with the braid. So I would recommend a braid to mono connection on a jerkbait, especially the smaller ones, and especially if you're using a bait caster. I would go 15-pound braid, and then I would just tie on like a maybe 8 pound mono. And I think right there, you're in a nice balance between getting that sensitivity, not losing your baits as you're jerking them through the
Mm-hmm.
water, and still getting a strong enough hook set. That'd be my recommendation for like most situations.
So bait caster or spinning?
I It really depends on the fish that you're targeting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from a casting perspective, from as long as you're not going to get like a 12 pounder that you're going to have to horse out of crazy weeds, I'm probably going spinning rig, just because you're going to get a better cast. You're going to get really nice feel and balance. There's nothing wrong with using a bait caster. You're just not going to get the same control as you will. And it depends on the size that you're using. If you're using a Rapala, I'm going spinning rig, preference wise, almost every single
Yeah.
time. 7 foot,
Yeah.
medium heavy. That's what I'm using.
100%.
Good
Chaz says,
question
what
though.
kind of knot? Kind of knot you using?
So I is there a reason that we're calling out the knot?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Kind of knot you
I
using?
like You can use any kind of knot you want, but I like a
Oh,
loop
that
knot.
episode didn't air, by the way.
Which
The one
one?
you're thinking of right now.
Oh,
Paul has a problem
weird.
with the world right now of knots. But I have not posted that recording. You ranted to the universe, my friend. So
I get
this
upset.
is a purely innocent question from the standpoint of fishing a jerkbait,
All right.
not whether or not you like to still use
You can
an
use
improved
you
clinch
can
knot
use
and get
an
yelled at
improved
about
clinch knot if you like.
it.
Or any other standard knot that's got a really tight connection. I want a loose connection, so I'm using a loop knot. And I'm using a
There
loop
we
knot
go.
that's leaving probably, we'll call it a half inch or less, maybe even I'll say a quarter inch,
Hmm.
between where the knot is, and then there'll be a little loop, and then that's where there's gonna be an open loop, and that's where your connection point is. The reason I use that is as you're jerking that bait through the water, that open loop is actually allowing the bait to travel past where your rod tip stops. And so you're getting this really nice flicking motion that is doing a nice job mimicking that bait fish that's in trouble. Um, I do the same thing on a lot of different baits. Anytime I'm walking the dog, I use a loop knot. I started doing that maybe 3 or 4 years ago and just haven't stopped since. I've never lost power. I've never lost fish because of it.
Hmm.
Sensitivity has never been an issue. But yeah, that could be a hashtag game changer for you, especially if you're not that great at walking the dog, and especially if you're on
Yeah.
really finicky fish. That could make the
Yeah.
difference.
Give it a shot, people. All right. So next up, we're talking about when we reach for them, when we don't reach for them.
Yeah.
When do you reach for them?
I reach for crankbaits like 50%
All
of
the
the
time.
time at some point on the water. It's because you can do anything with it. You can target any portion of the water column, high,
Yeah.
top to bottom. You can get really subtle with some of them. I have a couple of those like really old school. I keep saying Rapalas. That's just because they make they're the OG of them. But I have the
Yeah, because you're
original.
an old man.
I'm an old man. I'm 1,000 years old, and I'm planning my retirement yesterday. They have the old
It's
school.
actually true.
They have this just old school wobble to them. Those really old the original
Mhm.
Rapalas. But man, the paint job's still rad, and there's really not anything else. There's not much like them. Not many people make a 3-inch pike looking, you know,
Mhm.
3-foot diver. So, yeah, I mean, top to bottom, tons
Yeah.
of action, little action. To Jeff's point, you can run them through just about anything if you grab the right lure. So at some point in a day, I'm tying on a crankbait. I know I have two tied on right now, and I'm not even fishing.
Yeah, actually, to that point, where's he at? Somebody commented they wish we were fishing. Oh, he disappeared. It's Cole or something. It was like, oh man, I thought you guys be fishing live. I was like, man, we
Touche.
could. We'll
Two
figure that
episodes
out.
from now.
Yeah. That's we already have our next episode planned. Maybe we're hiking through the woods on the next episode, dragging our boats, trying to figure out a spot.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, just like Paul said, I always have them. They're always in the B. The Buzz B is loaded down with some body baits. I mean, you gotta have like an assortment of like hooks and jigs and you know, Ned rigs, obviously, but also, you know, chatter baits, spinner baits, and then some cranks. Like that's basically the entire plethora
Assortment.
that is my Buzzbee, you know? So yeah, so I'm always reaching for them. And I got to call back to this,
Oh, go ahead.
but Brandon said, how'd you like the speed glide from 6 cents? So Paul fished this too. So maybe Paul can chime in. But here's the deal. It's, I guess some people like it being called a speed glide and some don't. I've heard different, you know, thoughts, different schools of thought here, right? But what I liked about it was that I think personally, as long as it's not the thick stuff, it gets through the grass pretty good. And I was just straight cast retrieving it. Like cast it out. You could let it sink a little bit. It was the speed glide in particular, not the hybrid swim crank. The hybrid swim crank was a slow floating. The speed glide was a slow sinking. Again, this is from the 6 cents premium super 6 sack. Say that 17 times fast and you win $5, I guess. I don't know. But you know, it's straight cast and retrieve on this thing. It would stay, what was it, like a foot? It was like a foot down. If you let it sink a little bit more, it'd go a little further down, but it was mostly like high water column. And it had like a good smooth action, kind of a tight action.
It
It
could
wasn't,
it would tighten up if you crank down on it.
yeah. Like it didn't go crazy at all, but it was one of those things where it's like it looks like a good size bait fish, like a nice, easy, big old meal for a bass.
The
And they
fat.
were munching on it. I got multiple hits on it. I had little guys hit it. And I ended up landing a pike on it. I think was like the end of it. Like, well, it's alive. I still have it, but that was like the end of using it that trip. I used it when I was on my camping trip. But yeah, a couple bass and a pike on it, and it was just straight retrieve along a drop off. So it was like right towards the edge of a drop off where it went from, I think it was like 3 feet to 10 feet, and there was a grass line there, and I was just straight cast retrieve, and you know just kind of like going back and forth, paralleling this grass line on the drop off and just crushing them. So that's my recommendation.
It,
Find like some weeds and go by that.
it's a fall bait.
Mm. Yeah, it's a good bait for right now. It's
It's a
good for
yeah,
sure.
it's a shallow flats, um, high grass when fish are feeding up because they're hungry. In other words, they're looking up, like they're waiting for something to come above them. That's the bait. I'll be honest, in the same way that some of this other stuff is not maybe not Jeff's like favorite thing to fish because it doesn't fit in the wheelhouse. This is one of the ones that like I'll keep in the boat and might not touch but twice a year, just because it doesn't fit
Yeah.
my MO. So like
It's
I know
it's
it's
one that
good.
I just want to catch on. You know what I mean?
I know it's good bait.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit with my style, so I won't grab it. But I can't say it's bad bait because it does exactly what it's intended to do, and it does have a
Hmm.
purpose. Like that is a solid fall bait specifically for bass. It takes some patience. It doesn't run the way you probably think it or want it to run, but when you're running it the right way, it does look really good. So, like, I'm not thrilled about it, but at the same time, if you find yourself in, especially like middle, like right in the middle of fall, like mid October, and the water temp is just starting to really fall, um, and you're in 4 feet of water where you know there's fish out there, that is like the bait that you're gonna want to have in your hand, period. Because that is gonna bring in the big
Yeah,
ones.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, I mean, that's like an intro to swim baits. It's not. It's like a speed glide. It's a little guy kind of inching your way into swim baits. Swim baits
It's
usually
big.
being
It's not
like
small.
bigger
It's like what,
monster
4 inches
hunters.
long?
Oh yeah, it's not. No, it's like 5.5.
Yeah, so
It's
not
definitely not small, but it's light and small in comparison to swim baits.
100%.
But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna keep moving on with this, but real quick, Gary says good rig or type of lure for a beginner, and I'd say, well, Gary, there's a lot, but I mean, we're talking crankbait. So if we stayed within the crankbait realm, I will say this: just listen to our top five. You probably pick like 2 or 3 of those, and
My
you'll be
num
good. Like you
my
can't
num
go wrong.
my number 1 through 3 are right exactly what I would recommend to absolutely anybody.
Yeah.
All right, I
And I
want to
mean,
talk.
these are great for any water, bank or being out on a boat.
Yes,
Like, so you can use these. We'll
I will
get
get
to
to your question in approximately 10 minutes.
them. Maybe
I will
faster.
I will, yeah, faster. I'll say this. How we talked a little bit how you fish them. We talked about the erratic piece, like do not have a consistent retrieve all day. That's one thing.
Mhm.
We already talked about casting over and over and over and over again. Like, do not be afraid to hit the same spot 4, 5, 6 times. Those are my top
Mhm.
two. The last thing I want to say, when I fish a crankbait, I cast out. Let's say I cast to my left, right? I
Mhm.
want to be strong side while I'm retrieving, meaning
Yeah.
that I want to have the rod at a place where when I'm pivoting to set the hook, I've got my body
Yeah.
right up against it, right up against the butt of the rod, so that when I don't have it on my weak side, way out here. So if I'm casting my left, the rod tip is not on my left; it's on my right. So when I turn my body's actually pivoting against the bottom of the rod, and I'm getting a super nice hook set. I also keep the rod at a
Mhm.
45-degree angle to wherever the bait is, and I'm typically retrieving sideways. So my bait caster, typically using a bait caster for most crankbaits, baitcaster is not typically thumb up. It's actually thumb to the side, away from wherever I'm retrieving. So if I'm casting to my left, my thumb is to my right. I've got that thing tucked up right on my right hand side, and I'm feeling every single vibration that's coming through. And I've got the line at a 45-degree angle to the water, or to wherever the bait is. So if the bait's
Yeah.
closer, I'm actually angling up. As it's way further out, I'm actually angling down. And what that does is that means when I go to set the hook, one, I'm getting as much power as possible. I am also, when I set the hook, not going up. I'm not pulling the rod tip vertical. I'm sweeping it off to the side. The other thing I do, and this comes from fly fishing, it's like how my brain works for fly fishing when I'm fishing like big streamers, which is like the fly fishing version of a crankbait. When you're fishing big streamers, they teach you do not set the hook when you feel a bite. Just keep stripping out line, then set the
Mhm.
hook. The 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 version of this that works for most folks, that means you do not immediately set the hook. I bear down. I actually crank up as much as possible, then I set the hook. So
Mhm.
I am, if I think there's a fish on, crank, 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 bam, set the hook. And I'm sweeping it to the side. I'm not pulling it up because you're gonna pull a lot of baits right out of a fish's mouth if you don't do that. So that's my top three for how to fish them.
Yeah, that's a good pro tip. Anytime you're fishing like a moving bait, really, like that, where you're retrieving back to the boat, like end up leaning into it. Like that's when you lean into them. People say when they're like catching bass that way. That's how we do it. Like that's how you set the hook. That's how you keep them pinned. That's how you land them. So kind of an important tip. Yeah, you don't just lift up, you're just going to lift it out of their mouth. Even with trebles, you're going to miss some fish, and it sucks. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little speed round because I got a whole bunch of questions in a row, and then we're going to go to our top baits. Sound good?
Go. Hit
All
me.
right, let's do it. All right, so speed round questions that we got hit with here. Thank you, Chris, for answering Gary's question. I think you did a good job there, man. So, Ugly Stick GX2 premium combo. Go for the ultralight setup if you want to just have some heckin' fun. Learn the Palomar knot, do the Texas rig. Yeah, Texas rig worm on a tie Palomar knot. You're not going to lose anything. But that's a great way to get started. So that's again for beginner baits, like getting started. Texas rig, wacky rig. You can't go wrong. Start with those. We're talking body baits, hard baits today. So really any of these top 5 we're going to talk about in a second would be good too. Favorite color for fall baits from Construction Steve. What's your favorite color, Paul?
If I could only have one, it would be a shad pattern. If I could have 2, it'd be like a straight shad pattern, like a pearl or a silver, darker on top, lighter on bottom. If I could have 2, it would be a perch or a bluegill tied, but I'd pick perch personally, being in Michigan. I want natural looking. I want relatively subtle, and I want bait fish patterns. Like we were talking about earlier, in the fall, these bass are looking to stock up on calories. So they're pinning bait fish in the shallows, and they're just smacking them. So I want bait fish patterns.
100%. I'm the same. Bluegill patterns are some of my favorite. I would say, all right, so I'd say bluegill, shad, perch. That's probably my order. Same kind of idea. Like a lot of the crankbaits, the hard baits that are coming in like the subscription boxes even are matching up to that because these guys kind of maybe know what they're doing. But those will catch fish, man. I like that. That is definitely how I'm fishing right now. So great colors. More natural patterns, bluegill, shads, perch, fire tigers type stuff. Maybe dulled down a little bit. I like a more dull fire tiger right now. Something like that would kill it. Next up, I love this question. Liam asks, best bait for wading a river for smallies by the rocks. Okay, I got 2 for you. I'm gonna call this one. I got 2 for you. Number 1, hands down. Guess what? Guess what it is, Paul? No, go ahead. It's a Ned rig. Hands down, it's a Ned rig, man.
You said rocks too. That's the killer right there.
Yep. Especially if you got rocks, man. Ned rig all day through that cover, through that trash, just like pop it around there. You're going to smash some smallies. I love to cast it out, just let it sit and then slowly pop it back to me. And they're hitting it when it's sitting there. And you're just going to feel your line go zzz, and then you just set the hook. You got a fish. It's cheat codes straight up. My favorite color, copper truce. Z-Man copper truce. It's called the shark deuce. That's what we've coined it as. So get the shark deuce. It straight catches fish. I don't care what kind of water you got. It could be chocolate soup. Like,
I have
it don't
a
matter.
whole Ned box. 20% of it's shark deuce.
20% shark deuce. There ain't no other colors. I already told you guys that. You can go with their craw patterns. I do like their craw patterns. Somehow I haven't seen a shark deuce color in the craw. Bubblegum. Yeah, dude, go crazy. But yeah, the little Z-Man craws are legit. And then my second bait, if that's not working, is a MEPS. And I will throw a MEPS 2 or 3. 3 is my go-to with the white and red treble, tied treble with like a chartreuse, whatever blade. Spinner. The blade. Thank you. That is my go-to. Like the number 3 gets used so much, and I'll just throw that on like my medium to medium light rigs, spinning combos. Go out and just like I will catch 30, 40 fish every single time. So if you guys want to hammer smallies, that's what I say. Paul, any different?
No, I'm not gonna argue with you. There's a billion other options, but if you're just getting started and you just want to catch fish, those 2 things allow you to attack the bottom hard and attack the top to medium water column super hard. They are a MEP spinner is shockingly weedless. You're also getting a nice combo of action, control, and it doesn't they both work phenomenally well on spinning rigs as compared to bait casters, which means you aren't going to be like trying to carry 2 different rigs with you. So That's a
Yep.
solid combo.
Yep. 100%. You want a 1-2 punch? There you go. All right. Swim jig or chatter? Both. This is from Brandon. Both. I'm going to tell you why. It's a 1-2 punch. Number 2. Like, basically.
He said or.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying both. Take them both. Like, there's no or for me. I got them both. All right. If it is one or the other, chatter all day because it's just super fun. And oftentimes the bass are hitting reaction baits, and that's a reaction bait. It's the reaction bait of reaction baits. Like, it's so reactionary. And that's a word. If it's not a word, made it a word. But I just bought like 12 jackhammers from Z-Man. So you could say I kind of like jackhammers. I'm interested to try the stealth blade. We're gonna go fish them very soon. I can't wait. It's gonna be sweet.
The reason I would agree with Jeff is because you said swim bait. If you had said
So swim jig
or swim jig, if you had said any other kind of jig, it would have been a more difficult decision because a swim jig is great, but it's a lot less versatile than just like a standard like jack of all trades jig. And I would rather have more action. You're going to draw in more fish with the blade on there. So I would definitely go chatter.
100%. Last one, we go to our top baits. If you could only take one bait for the fall, what would it be?
Jerkbait.
Jerkbait?
Because I'll tell you why.
Go
If
ahead.
you pick the right jerkbait, you can jerk it nice and slow and take your time. Or you can actually run those. You can actually run those like a regular crankbait, and they do have nice action. So you're not like limiting yourself as much. And they're targeting a water column that I'm probably going to be targeting the most, which would be I want to be in the 3 to 4 foot range. Now, I might in this case for a jerkbait actually take something that's got a joint to it. So when I'm running it like a crankbait, I'm getting the most out of it. So if I can only have one, that's probably the one I'm going to take with me because I can do the most with it. Rapala makes the suspending jointed jerkbait in a shad. I have 2 of them in a box right now. They cast well. They come in either 1 or 3 inches, I believe. And you can do whatever you need to do with them. That's an awesome bait.
Can you guess mine?
It's going to be something Billy.
Yeah, it's if you tell me one bait ever, it's almost always going to be a Ned rig. Like, just because I can fish it any season all the time. Like, why would I ever, if I only get one, if you're like, here's a spinning rod combo, pick a bait,
go watch some of Jeff's videos.
Like, sweet.
You would have to ask that question.
Yeah, you don't. Why are you guys asking me one bait? But yeah, for sure, Ned rig I think covers a lot of bases for me. All right, let's get to our top 5, and then we'll sneak in some other questions later. But
love it.
Top 5, 1 for 1. Ready? You go.
All right, I'll go first. Rapala, the Dives 2, the DT6. I want in brown crawdad. That, by the way, if you're looking for a do-it-all that is like legit do-it-all in any situation, no matter the season, Rapala DT. I think I have 5 of them. At every different depth. It's phenomenal bait. And they're not that expensive for a crankbait either.
Yeah, for sure. So my number 1 is actually like the first crankbait that I started slaying them on. And that is the Burly Digger series. So if you guys want like a cheap crankbait that lasts literally forever. So we talked about some brands dealing with some durability issues. This thing has eaten pike. Pike have not eaten this. This is eaten pike. I have the same crankbait. I've had it forever, and it still catches fish all dang day. But it is in, I think it's like the sunfish pattern, but I also like the sexy shad or citrus shad. It's like those
I'm skipping ahead. I'm going to my number 3, which is the Burly Digger 6-foot diver in Gilly. So
yes,
Burly actually has 2 spots on here. They're my number 3 and 4. The flicker shad is just a different pattern of the exact same style crankbait. I have them in fire tracker is my favorite. I like them jointed just because it just provides something that's very different from all the diggers that I have sitting in my box. They have divers that go anywhere from 6 feet all the way down to 14 plus. They're about $5 or $6, and they are killers, and they last forever. They have every color you could possibly want from like matte black all the way through fire tiger and everything in between. Burly makes a killer crankbait, and you can get them anywhere. That's my
For
number
no
3.
dollars.
They're awesome. When they go on sale, just grab the rack and drop it.
For sure. All right. So if the way I set up my top 5 is kind of like basically matching the different types of body baits we were talking about today, or different hard baits. So going from a standard crank hitting that 6 to 8 foot kind of range to a deep diving crank, I got the Strike King 3XD. I like the citrus shad and the gizzard shad, and I have several of those and several in like other brands too, that I don't fish as much. But like the Strike King is kind of my go-to. I really like how they run. I think they run true. I think they're easy to cast. I think they're more durable. I like them.
They're legit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They fall right in that Burly, the same class, solid bait.
Yep.
My number 2, this one, Rapala X Wrap. I want it in perch. I want it in their standard size. I have it in 3 different colors, and it's not in my crankbait box, which is behind me. Those 3 are always in my Busby right next to me to grab, because they are my favorite style of jerkbait, period. Yep. That perch one, it's one of the first baits I ever bought, and I've caught more fish with one of those than ever before. And it doesn't matter if it's the heat of summer and I'm using it like a crankbait, or if it's spring or fall and I'm using like a jerkbait. It's just good bait, period.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump to my number 5, which is the Rapala X Wrap, because it just straight up crushes it. I love them. I love that, they do that feather tie on the back treble. I love the size of them. If I'm reaching for a jerkbait, which I don't do often, it's the Rapala X Wrap. Like that would be my go-to. I love those, man.
So good. All right. I already did my 3 and 4. So
all right, so my 3 and 4 are my Squarebill, and I actually really love flat-sided Squarebills. So they are the same brand, and this is actually the brand that was getting some of the some of the heat a little bit earlier. I have not experienced this durability issue, so I'm just going to say this, but it's 6 cents, and I have not had this durability issue that I've been hearing about. As soon as one of my baits splits, I'll let you guys know, and then I'll deal with customer service. But until such a time as that, it's innocent until proven guilty for me. So I actually love 6 cents baits. I love them, hands down, like some of my favorite body baits. And I say it all the time in my videos, and the unboxings are just so fun every time. But the Squarebill, that's my go-to, is the 6 Cents Crush 50X. I think it's a good size. They make bigger sizes. They're like Cloud9 Magnum series, but the 50X is legit. Best color, in my opinion, Black Magic. It is litty. It is so good. It's got like an opaque lip. Like it's ridiculous. Or Shad Sense. Both of those different colors, I've caught so many freaking fish on. It's absurd. And then the flat-sided bill is actually also a 6 cents bait. And I have a ton of different brands of the flat-sided bills, but like, see here Chad is, you guys can't see him, but he's holding up a bait to show me it's that Black Magic. And that thing is so good. I don't have one on hand, but it's just black with like these blue highlights and green eyes. Like it's freaking, look it up. It's absurd. It's an absurd color. One of my favorite of all time. And then the flat-sided bill that I really like, it's called the Crush 75X. And it comes in chartreuse or lava craw are like my go-to colors. Actually, no, I think that, yeah, that's a flat-sided bill. I was thinking lipless for a second. No, that's a flat-sided square bill. So the Crush 75X, chartreuse colors, lava craw colors, because springtime and even fall time, that like red. I love that red. I love throwing red bait. It's a good time. So yeah, I think that's all my top 5. Let's hit these. I added my honorable mentions too. So
I gotta round out my top 5. My last one is actually.
Oh, you got one more.
It's my 6. It's the 6 Cents Crush, and I like the black light craw. We do not, by the way, Jeff and I do not powwow on these beforehand, so I do not know what he's gonna have in here.
Yep. I don't even look at his when I add mine.
2, 3, 4 out of the 3 out of the 5 were identical. That's hilarious. All right, so That's my
Because
number
we know our
5.
baits, man.
Oh god. Honorable mentions. I had, what did I have in here? I had the Rapala Rap V. Uh, it's like a
Hmm.
combination between a jerkbait and a lipless. Dude, they look freaking sweet. I've seen them run in the water. That bait was made for me because that bait is all about control. Like your ability to control that in the water will dictate like your ability to hammer fish. So if you can figure out how to work it, that is what's going to lead to success. So that was my first one. The next one was, and this one was really, really hard for me to take off. It's so close to my being my favorite um, Squarebill, the Rapala Brat. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I think I have 7 or 8 of them in my boxes in different colors. It's sort of my go-to, but that 6 Sense Crush has become my favorite. But the Rapala Brat is legit.
Dude, that's a pretty nuts bait.
They're really light. They have great color schemes. My favorite thing about them is how they run. So when they run, they just run super vertical compared to even a lot of Squarebills, and they just do not get hung up. Just a really good Squarebill. Next one for me was the Storm Hot and Tot. It is so durable, and it's just a phenomenal like 6-foot diver. And then the Spro Fat John Little John. If you've never run Spro baits, start doing it. You're missing out on like a whole planet of like really, really good baits. These are sort of like,
A
again, with
planet.
their with Rapala, they're the OGs of body baits, and they make sick baits. They're super high quality, and they just catch fish.
All right. So somebody was asking about showing some baits. Who is that? Oh, B Dooley. What's up, dude? All right. So this is the Crush 50X from 6 Cents. Looks like that. Like a little guy, little medium size kind of crankbait. Love throwing that around. This is the Strike King. It's like the 3XD. It's a pretty deep diving. Big bill. Gonna get down there. It's like 12 to 16 feet. This guy, this is the old bait.
Oh god,
That's the Berkeley. You see that mark right there? That's teeth, dude. That's teeth. This thing has been et.
I've I have so I have we were on a lake close to my house, and windy day, tough day. I probably reeled in 30 plus on that crankbait
Dude.
for no other reason that it was just the best bait for the day. And that thing, it was stupid. You couldn't miss.
See this ring? That's the treble. That's the treble just moving back and forth. That's how many times I've run this thing. It's so absurd. And then here's the black light. Yeah, Chad was showing me this. Now I'm showing you guys this. So see those eyes? Look at that.
That's the
That's the
6
6
Sense.
Cents. Yep. That thing's so ridiculous.
Do you have
I
your
love it.
bandit?
Do I have what? The Bandit?
Do you have your bandit handy?
I do. Did you just mention that one?
Dude, that's my next honorable mention. That bandit series, though, either the 1 or the 300 in pearl black. I used one out of one of Jeff's
This is what
boxes.
happens to your crankbaits, guys.
I used one in Jeff's box. I went out and bought 3 like 2 weeks later because that thing just, you know what I like about it? It has a lot of control. Like your ability to manage the speed, it adjusts the depth accordingly, and it reacts really fast. That is a super, like, right up there with that 6X, the Rapala DT or the 6XD, as far as like getting the best easy to use crankbait.
Ignore these other baits.
That's
Ignore this.
That is my favorite color.
That is the one. That is the one that crushed it for him. All right, my honorable mentions here. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. All right, so I don't have this one on me, but the 6 Cents Cloud9 Magnum Squarebills. Check them out. They are like this if it was 10 times larger. Like just a giant Squarebill that will dive down to like 6-7 feet. And I love throwing those, and I'll throw them on the river too. Like, and they will just hammer the biggins. So it's a good backup. Yeah, dude, you got the black. All right, so Chad's showing me. Chad's behind the screen, but Chaz is showing me the Cloud9 in black light. You guys picture that for a second? That's ridiculous. I'm gonna go buy one right now. All right, so then I have the Bait Labs, which I do have on me. Bait Labs, a little bit of a smaller company, but this thing has, look at this lip. This is what I like about it. This thing surprised me. I thought it was going to be garbage. It came in a monster bass box. It absolutely hammered him. Paul fished it too. This thing just straight catches fish. It's ridiculous. Like the shape of this lip gives it a much more erratic action. So, and I like this color too.
Yeah.
Just like this, like bluegill, a little translucent, like reflective. It's like a bluegill perched combo. It's crazy. I got the Bagley flat-sided balsa squarebill. Somebody way back up said balsa baits, right? So here's my balsa bait, the Bagley squarebill. It's flat-sided. I really like, and I like it in a chartreuse color. It's one of my favorite like squarebills to throw as well. And then Booyah Baits, the hard knocker or one knocker, honestly doesn't matter. The Booyah Baits Lipless. I think it's a good one. And I think it came in MTB this month. I think I just got one, like the one knocker. But yeah, Booyah Baits Lipless, love it. Love those.
I got one.
They're a good go-to.
I got one last one. We're talking about Weston Lures, makers of Danny the Duck. Okay, hold please. Yes, you may not love every single thing they make. I just found out an hour and 30 minutes ago that they make a lure called Mike the Pike, and it's a hybrid. And this thing is freaking sweet. It comes up to 28 centimeters. It is, which is huge, by the way. That's longer than your hand. I don't care how tall you are or big you are. This thing is huge. It's monstrous. It comes in 17, 20, and 28. Their colors are freaking hilarious. They have a fire tiger. They have one that's called Crazy Soldier, which is like a brown and white. And then they have this one. It's called, I don't even know what they don't have a name for this color. It's like black and yellow, and it is freaking sweet. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to catch.
Are you buying it right now?
I'm going to buy one, and I absolutely need to have the gigantic one, and I'm going to catch a muskie on it, and it's going to be fantastic. And I don't care what anybody says. This is one of my new favorites. I freaking love this thing. It looks so awesome. The big one is so big it has 2 tie-in points. How about that?
That's ridiculous.
That's a new honorable mention.
All right, guys. So we just gave you a ton of baits. So take that list to the store. Sorry to your significant others or parents, whatever. Sorry to your wallet. It's just you. Like, I get it. Hey, we're fishermen too. Like, we get it. Chad is just Chaz behind the screen here is just holding up bait after bait after bait in the box. NRFB, never removed from box. This guy is just flashing them, flaunting them. This guy's ridiculous. I have no boxes. I'm like the type of fisherman. Some people have like the boxes and stuff still on their wall. Like, look at my pegboard; they're all loose. If there's a box, I just tear it off. It's gone. Yeah, Chaz has a bin full of boxes. I throw the boxes away immediately. I don't have the patience for them. I don't have room for boxes. I don't want them in my house. All right, Kyle. No, I did not fish the Hypo Twist yet. Just unboxed it today. Dropping the video next week. Will not be fishing this weekend. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to fish that next week. So I'll let you know. It's a little bit late for topwater, but prop bait.
I think it happened. It works in fall for sure. Like I said, they're feeding up, so it definitely works. You just typically want a stick bait, maybe not a wake bait.
It's a subtle prop. It's got like a little rubber boot on it. All right, so that's crankbaits. That's hard baits. That's body baits, whatever you want to call them. We went through a whole heck ton of them, so hopefully it was helpful for you guys. And if you got any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, hit us up. So you can obviously comment on this video here. You can message us. You can follow us, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us, subscribe to the podcast. Drop us a comment there. Chaz is just holding up baits left and right and trying to distract me, but I won't let him do it. And then you guys can, of course, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit us up there. Drop a comment anytime. Hey, we really appreciate you guys watching this. Doing this live stuff is a ton of fun for us. Usually it's just like me and Paul on Skype, and it's super boring. So now it's like we get to interact with you guys. So I really hope this is fun for you guys. I want to keep doing it. I know this is our first one back after a couple of weeks, but we're going to get consistent with this. So if you guys like it, let us know. Drop us a comment. Obviously subscribe to the channel so you can see when we drop these more. We'll clean up like how we launch the stuff and all that. Like we'll do better. We'll get better every single week. You just wait. And if you have any suggestions for future episodes, I think we locked in the next ones. All right. So the next one, how do you find where you're going to go fishing?
Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you for the suggestion. So you guys can drop us a suggestion anytime. Let us know what you want to see next, and we will do that. Otherwise, we're going to sign off. Chaz, take us out.